Oh. What's up? Oh. What an excellent day. What an excellent set of days. A toast to authenticity. I'm just more and more. I mean, isn't that just the story of? I think that's just a story of what it means to become you, to become yourself. I guess is. I'm just more and more excited that, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and then what you discover everywhere you go is like, oh well, that's the right thing to do, right? Or and then you look around and you see examples of people doing exactly that, and oh wow, the content that you love the most is exactly that. So I'm very excited by that. And speaking from the terms of MBTI with the functions, that really comes across as an INTP, that comes across as ignoring TE, ignoring extroverted thinking, and like, oh, here's what gives you views, here's what gives you the numbers, here's what people have done that's like the best strategies. Ignore all that and you just express yourself. And I'm excited to see that's people are looking for that. And I want to continue talking about just more and more examples that I see, because I was looking for that. I wanted to understand that there are other ways to look at the world instead of the metrics and the strategies and all that, right? And I want to share a few things I've seen recently. Another way to look at what I'm talking about here is this idea right here. We are all called to stand for something. And I came to realize that that's another way to look at MBTI types, personality types, is that's a way to understand what is it in me that wants that like what do I find important? What do I feel called to stand for, right? And looking across the INTPs, we see that the INTPs are called to stand for, like, above everything else, truth. And to define truth further, what is internally consistent and logical, what feels beautiful and like it can stand alone by itself as truth. It is not the TE truth, extrovert thinking truth of what is verified, valid, what is shared as understood, accepted rules and approaches, like rules of engagement by everyone together. Like, that's the extrovert thinking truth, and that is what I push back against all the time, because what I stand for is internally consistent, beautiful, standalone truths. Right? That's the INTP. And I want to cover some ENTPs to explain to you what is the ENTP truth. What does the ENTP stand for? I mean, I released the previous video about this, so I just want to finish this up. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this and then talk about INFPs next. I have a whole bunch of examples of all of these different ways of going about the world that all work, and that's really what I love about what I've discovered here is they all work, but we have been led to mistrust our own inner voice, this thing that we feel that we stand for, and we listen to that shared, or that voice in the air, which is extrovert thinking, about like, okay, yeah, you like, you feel that's true, but will it make money? Prove it. Where are the results? Where are the external measures that will show you that that movie you want to make is going to make money, is going to support you, and where's the budget? Okay, that's valid, but there's something more valid, which is the sense that that's true. And when we listen to that, the main thing that you get is alignment with yourself, and there's a power, there's energy that comes out that is present in whatever it is that you do, and people can sense that, they can feel that, and that's way more powerful than any like external proof or validation. For people like that, for the extrovert thinking types, that's what makes them come alive. They're like, oh, I love that. They're energized by it. Keep doing you. But I'm also going to keep doing me. And for the ENTPs, I'd like to share here, they are going to keep doing them, and that's exactly why we love them, and that's why they create the things that we love about what they do. Let me find the ENTPs here. So, to finish up this talk about the ENTPs, the ENTPs are all about, like, what other connections are there? What's the extrovert intuition, which is like looking out into the expanse. What else can we see and connect? And I'd like to look at this from nothing, essentially, like oh, there's like wonder, expanse, amazement. Like, what else is there? These are the questions that ENTPs stand for. And like, if someone says, oh, that's it, there's nothing else, then the ENTP will automatically push back and say, oh no, what do you even mean? Like, that can't even possibly be true. That just means that you're not looking any further. And if we talk about this in terms of processes, that desire to narrow down into like okay, we figured it out, is like introvert intuition, where it's like, okay, well, I think we understand now what's going on here. And there are people that live for that, right? But the ENTP will naturally see this force as opposing. They say, no, there are other possibilities here. As the Feynman quote goes, I'd rather have questions that can't be answered. Questions that can't be answered, the unknown. Then answers that can't be questioned, which is like established. TE, like, we figured it out. Here are the best practices. Here is where we're going, right? The ENTP, like, what they stand for, what they stand for is openness, questions, expanse, unknown. They want to keep on creating that, right? Options. And the other thing that they will go away from and push against in order to stand for that is introverted sensing. What has been done before? What is the tried and true? What is proven? What is proven to be like what we've done before, and continuing that. Well, I mean, okay, the ENTP will say, okay, I feel that, I know, but what's more important to me, what I'm all about is what else is possible, what other connections can we make, what is in the beyond, right? And so you can hear the difference between this and the INTP. The INTP is all about, like, okay, I also agree with the ENTP, but it's ultimately to find this beautiful new standalone truth, right? So this is why the ENTP, as I said, is all about freedom, all about the ability to think and explore freely, and thus they dislike capture. When corporations buy and make things closed source, or they patent things and they say, oh, you can't talk about that, you can't do that, the ENTP will push against that. When people are establishing rules and norms and things, the ENTP will question and push back against that. So they're all about open source and the freedom to do things, net neutrality. These things are very core, key, like important parts of an ENTP's value system. And so they will act that way, and they will push into the unknown, and they just want to demonstrate that the world is way larger than we ever thought, right? And it creates awesome, beautiful things. So I've added a few people here, and so you can, like, I'll make a link to this document on the video description, so you can look ahead. You can go ahead and look. So I've added one of my favorite creators on YouTube and Twitch. He's a streamer. Is Atriarch. I see him as ENTP. He just released a video talking about this. Actually, he's like, okay, people are telling me all these like best practices and the best way to make YouTube videos. I'm gonna keep doing what excites me. That's what he says, and that's exactly why I love his content. I recommend his content, especially if you are a fellow introverted thinker. He really makes engaging stuff. Bobby Lee, the comedian, who is now on the podcast Bad Friends, and the co-host. If you ever watch their dynamics, then I'm glad he's okay with it. But you know, his co-host is a TJ, and I read him as INTJ. What's his name? Andrew Santino. And so like where they clash is often like his desire for freedom and Andrew Santino's desire for like the agreements and like the ability to control and avoid, like, you know, future you know, what do you call them, like corners, getting stuck in a corner, right? But yeah, there's an example. And then Mr. Wozniak of Apple, co-founder of Apple. And then I also want to share with you one clip I have that really highlights this tendency with George Hotz. If you listen to this, you can hear the ideals of an ENTP, which work. They work, right? You can hear. You know
what? There's kind of downsides to scaling it. People are always like, "Why don't you advertise?"
And he's talking about, by the way, his previous startup, his previous venture called Comma.ai, which is about self-driving cars. Why don't you advertise?
Our mission is to solve self-driving cars while delivering shippable intermediaries. Our mission has nothing to do with selling 1 million boxes. It's tawdry.
Tawdry, like what does tawdry mean? Hold on. That's cheap. Tawdry, right? Okay.
Do you think it's possible that Comma gets sold?
Only if I felt someone could accelerate that mission and wanted to keep it open source. And like, not just wanted to, I don't believe what anyone says. I believe incentives. Mm-hmm. If a company wanted to buy Comma where their incentives were to keep it open source, but Comma doesn't stop at the cars. The cars are just the beginning. The device is a human head. The device has 2 eyes, 2 ears. It breathes air. It has a mouth. You know what? There's kind of downsides to scale.
Yeah. So that's an example of an ENTP who you can see what he stands for. He stands for freedom. He stands for openness. He stands for possibilities. And so the company that he created, and every company he creates, is all about creating more freedom and availability of choice. Right. So George Hotz, there's an interview of him by Lex Friedman. I recommend that you look into it. And let's. I feel I've come to the end of what I want to talk about ENTPs here, but I do want to review the people. Quentin Tarantino, if you look at all of his interviews, you can see that he's a nerd. He's a deeply passionate nerd about cinema, and he has his opinions about how he wants it to be made, and he just wants to expand what's possible, right? Abraham Hicks and Bashar, the spiritual teachers, if you are an introverted thinker, if you are an NTP, xNTP, look into their stuff. I think, you know what? Okay, Audible. I'm gonna keep talking about these teachers and talk about why they speak so much to NTPs, and they speak to freedom, and they speak against extroverted thinking, right? Bashar, let me bring up his famous formula. Okay, so here's Bashar's formula. Act on your highest excitement. That's generally what he says. Act on your highest excitement, your passion, whatever is most exciting to you in the moment, and do this every moment you can. So, like, what's exciting now, and keep on doing that. Without any attention to what the outcome is going to be. So I recommend you look into Bashar's formula, because Bashar's formula is essentially saying, you don't have to think about the outcome or the results. You can let go of extroverted thinking, and you can focus on extrovert intuition. So Bashar, I think, is a ENTP speaking to ENTPs and also other people like that, which is INTPs. And other extrovert intuitives can also gain a lot from this idea. And then Abraham Hicks, the way she talks about it is she talks about the vortex. And let's see if I can bring up. She talks about it in terms of steps. The steps of manifest. There we go. Okay. So the way Abraham Hicks talks about it, and I'm sure I can dive into this more in a future video. The way Abraham Hicks talks about it is, as you go through life, you will experience the contrast. You will experience things that you don't like. And everything that you experience that you don't like creates in you, unconsciously, what you do like. You know what you do like because you've experienced what you don't like. And then Source says, okay, I get it. What's inside you says, okay, I get it. You want that. And then all you need to do is you understand what it is that you now want because you've seen the opposite. And you accept that that's yours. And you continue to be aligned to that thing that you want, what is authentic to you. And as you're going along that way, as you are standing in authenticity, you can appreciate every step that goes along the way. You are on a boat moving towards your destination. You're moving towards what's authentic to you, and you appreciate it. Both of these messages, Abraham Hicks and Bashar, I see are extroverted intuitives embracing authenticity and saying, I don't need to be inauthentic and think about how am I going to get there? What is the system? What is the plan? That's not authentic to me. I can let that go. And I can embrace where things are naturally leading me. The path of least resistance. I've been thinking about how the one kind of type that might push back against us a little bit is the ENFP, which has third extroverted thinking. So in these videos I'm posting, I won't be covering them as much because where they're sitting, it's natural for them to think about the results and the outcomes, and that's okay. And so they will push back against us a little bit, but that's okay. They also understand the truth in it as well. Okay, so I'm talking about how I see Bashar and Abraham Hicks as philosophy for ENTPs and INTPs and extroverted intuitives, right? So that's another thing I wanted to cover about ENTPs, right? That is very much the way they see the world, right? And then there's Wozniak of Apple, and Steve Jobs had a lot to say about people like Wozniak, which is just let them do their thing. They're not gonna be very reliable. They're not gonna be thinking in terms of agreements and timelines and getting stuff done. But they're gonna create stuff that couldn't be created any other way. They're geniuses, basically. That's what Steve Jobs says about people like that. Steve Jobs I see as INTJ, by the way. So ENTPs have their own form of genius that you can see across all of these examples. They create something that in their authenticity they create something that nothing else could have created. They very much created the internet because the internet is all about freedom, ability to connect. They kept it open source. They pushed for open source, net neutrality, and INTPs alongside. They both have this extrovert intuitive drive that made it possible, and so it creates something beautiful in the world that as I looked into this more and more, I understood deeper and deeper, and so I'm very excited by this because it really speaks to me. It helps me really pinpoint and understand what is authenticity for me as a non-TE type, and what is extrovert intuition, and how can I really rest into it more and more. So that's what I wanted to talk about here. I'm gonna cut this here. This is the ENTP finishing video, and then we'll talk about further types, because each one that I researched into, I understood more and more. Oh, that's what they were like. It's like everyone grew up and they were said, TE, what's your plan? Like the better you plan, the better the outcome, and like that's naturally the people that are talking to them are TJs. Their teachers are generally going to be ENTJ, ESTJ, ISTJ. That's like the people that run schools and run traditional workplaces. And the people that I'm going to be sharing across these videos are people that I looked into and realized, oh, they were told that and then they had to let it go. And only in letting it go did they enter into this power that created what they created. So I have examples of INFPs and INFJs coming up next. So I will wrap it up for ENTPs here. And then let's explore those next. Peace.